Hey, you over there. Yeah, I see you. You're thinking about starting your own podcast, aren't you? Well, if you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain because I have some experience here. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. Yeah, that's right. You heard me. Totally free to record, edit, and distribute your podcast. It doesn't get any better than that. So download the Anchor app or go to Anchor.fm to get started.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 25 of Ayana Explains It All. In this episode, I'll deep dive into why critical thinking needs to make a comeback. And no, it's not just because I said so, although that would be nice. I've got some explaining to do. Let's get into it. What's up, people? What is up? Have you all noticed that the way that I say let's get into it, it's an indication of how this podcast episode is going to go, right? If I say it angrily, that means I'm about to put my foot on somebody's neck. And if I say it pleasantly, that means we're just going to sit here and have a nice little conversation about some things. We're just going to talk nice and quietly. Well, maybe not quietly. I do have a loud and big mouth. You want to hear something that's funny? Okay, so my podcast is available on 12 different platforms, including YouTube. I have a program that converts my audio into a video that plays. I do not myself show any video of myself because I'm recording this Sunday night when I've probably been doing chores and taking a few naps throughout the day, and I look just like Medusa. And I don't feel like putting on I don't feel like putting on a hijab, frankly, on a Sunday night, just so I could record this for you people. I love every single one of you, but when the hijab is off, it's off, okay? So I'm also available on, I have an account on TikTok for my podcast. It's Ayana Explains It All Pod. And on my personal account, I put that I am a big mouth Black Muslim lady lawyer. And there were some people who took umbrage with that. Like, you're a Black woman. You shouldn't want to call yourself big mouth Black lady lawyer. Ugh. And you know why they do that? Because women are supposed to make ourselves attractive to others, especially men, so that we can be accepted. And I don't give a fuck about being accepted. I really don't. I do not. I don't care. So I'm going to put whatever the hell I want, and I'm going to be the big mouth Black lady lawyer, Muslim, from the hood, living in the suburbs, because that is what the fuck I am. And if you don't like it, guess what? Move along, little doggy, move along. So share my podcast with a friend. With that being said, if you like me, share my podcast with a friend or a family member or some random stranger who needs to get their intellect up, who needs to learn a bit more about a particular topic. I have a range of topics that I've discussed in the 25 episodes. This is now the 25th episode of the show. So there's something for everybody, except for the kids. Don't let your kids listen to this. Except for that one episode about young adults going off to college. That was absolutely for the kids. The rest of the smut, don't let them listen to it. So Here it is, episode 25, and I was reflecting on what I've learned so far in making this podcast. And I have learned so much, not just about making a podcast, but also about the different topics that I've explored. There are some things I did not know about maternal health, Black men's health, government. There were some things I didn't know about society, about different cultures, and I learned all of that doing research for the various episodes that I've recorded, and just by reading and talking to people and listening to people talk. I do a lot of listening to people talk. Frankly, that is actually what inspired today's episode, listening to people talk. And I do a lot of listening, and that is how I gather the information that I present to you all from a bunch of different sources. And what I've learned in making this, the reason why I started this podcast is because people were not thinking critically about information presented to them. Instead of, they were just making snap judgments based on not reading, not understanding what they've been presented with, not looking further into, somebody sends you a video and you're getting outraged based on just that little 30-second, 60-second clip. And what you don't know is probably that it's not true. What happened in the video is a skit. Usually someone's doing like a little comedy skit to get people worked up. Or, it's just people faking and laughing and lying. And there's a lot of lying that goes on in information that's presented on the internet. People lie, news outlets lie. It's incredible. They're constantly lying to us just to get us to click on links, to get us to send them our money, to get us to like them, to get us to follow them. It's incredible. And because we're not thinking critically about the information presented to us, we're falling for these okey dokes. We're falling for these demagogues and these violent and crazy and intellectually dishonest people, right? And so when I started this podcast, I was like, okay, I'm really going to enlighten these folks and tell them what's really going on about a particular situation. And maybe this will help some people. And maybe it'll enrage some people. You'll be happy. You'll be sad. You'll cry. You'll want to fight. I don't care. But as long as you're thinking critically about the information that's presented, then I've done my job. And that job is still ongoing. So while this is the 25th episode, inshallah, there will be hundreds more, because it never stops. It never stops. The desire that I have to help people understand what's going on, to help the world around us make sense. If you can make sense of the world, I mean, it's a pretty complex place. Even your little corner of the world is complex. Even your house, what goes on in your home is complex. You're complex. But the more you understand, little by little, understand what is happening around you, what's happening to you, those complexities start to lose some of those complexities start to become less daunting for your brain, and you're able to handle them more. You're able to deal with them better. So that's what Ayana Explains It All is about. And let me tell you, I usually come on here with like a whole written script, an outline, like 7, 8, 9, 10 pages, because I have something that I want to talk about. I need to talk about it. I need to get this out. But this one has actually been on my spirit. It's been on my spirit for a while. The more I spend time on social media, the more I become quietly enraged by people's inability to think critically. And I know we don't always have the time to do it, but people, please at least read past the headline or the caption and do just a little digging. You don't even have to do a lot of digging. Just do a little digging before you comment on something or before you present the information to the people who follow you, or to, in your social circles or your group chats. You're sending things to the group chat. before you do that, maybe just do a little bit of background on what the hell is happening. There's so much on the internet that is just false. It's false. People like to lie to you, and they know that you'll believe it because you don't have time. You have just a little bit of time. You want to be entertained, and lies are entertaining, aren't they? They would have to be for people to keep doing it to you. They must be getting some kind of entertainment value out of it. So, but this is why I think critical thinking needs to make a comeback, because we're being lied to so much and being taken advantage of so much that it's costing us time, it's costing us money, it's costing us energy. Yes, because you're putting a lot of energy into arguing with people or deciding to take a stance based on false information, based on lies, and you're arguing with people, some people you don't even know, strangers on the internet. Strangers on the internet. That should be a podcast. Strangers on the internet, or a TV show where people just sit and argue about things and never come to any kind of conclusion or solution. I've been spending some time on TikTok. My daughter laughed at me when I was telling her this story. She was like, "What are you talking about? TikTok Live?" I just go on there. People just go on there and they look at the For You page and they keep scrolling. Why are you going on these TikTok lives? And I said, because I want to see what people are talking about. I want to see what interesting things are getting people worked up. And some of it is politics. Some of it is, human sexuality. Some of it is society. But mostly it's communal relationships. And my God, all the talking you people do about relationships and you still haven't figured out how to make them work, it is because you're not thinking about this subject, this topic, these issues in relationships critically. You're just not. You're presenting a topic, a thesis, an opinion statement is what you're doing. And then you're presenting what it means to you. You're saying what your thoughts are on it. And then you're challenging people to argue with you. That's what you're doing. You're challenging people to argue with you. You're not trying to get people to change their mind, or maybe you are. You're trying to get people to change their minds to believe what you believe to be true. And what you believe to be true is not based on anything except your feelings. And when people disagree with you, you get upset. And this is what happens all the time on these live debates, these live discussions. Somebody says something, somebody disagrees, and then they're just arguing back and forth, back and forth. And let me tell you something, because I used to do this. I do not do this anymore because it is pointless and it is an energy zapper. Going back and forth with someone on a post, on social media, on a comment section of something is the dumbest fucking thing you could do with your time. It's dumb. And maybe that's what you like. Maybe you like dumb things, and I shouldn't be so hard on people who like dumb stuff. I shouldn't be so hard on people who like dumb stuff. Ayana, come on. Let the people, if this is how they want to be entertained, let them be entertained that way. But it really bothers me to the point that I will just walk away from whole discussions. I'll just read whatever people are talking about and then walk away. I don't even participate because you can't, I don't want to be arguing with a bunch of different people all day, every day. And yeah, I might disagree with what someone has said, but it's not even worth telling them that I disagree because you'll just be attacked. You'll just be attacked. I'll be attacked. I've been attacked many times and I don't care. I don't care. I don't go back and forth with people. I say what I have to say and I leave. I talk and I dip. I talk and I dip, honey. Because people are so passionate about their stance on something to the point that even if new information is presented to them, they don't change their minds. They can't change their minds because they believe themselves to be correct and right, and you cannot change the mind of someone who thinks they're right about everything. There's no room to grow there. When you believe yourself to be right about whatever it is you're talking about, there's no room for growth. So no, you're not going to change your opinion. You're not going to move to another side. You have to be actively looking to be swayed and persuaded to go to change your stance. But many of us think we are right. And that is a mistake. That is a mistake. If you're right, it's because your correctness is based in facts, not opinions. Opinions are how you feel about something. They are not facts. Opinions are not facts. And I don't know who told you all that they were. Opinions are not facts. They're not facts for anyone. Maybe it's how you feel, but even how you feel about something is not necessarily how you're going to act on it. Right? You could feel about, a celebrity or a topic. You could feel about sports a certain way. But it doesn't mean you're going to act on it in that particular way. Because again, it's an opinion, it's not a fact. Facts are what they are. You don't have to prove the truth. The truth speaks for itself. You don't have to argue for the truth. People are either going to believe it or they're not. People are content with acting on a lie. Yes, very content. They don't care. People are content with living a lie. People are content with telling lies. People are content with believing lies. Yes, all of these things. The truth is simple sometimes. Sometimes it's complex. Sometimes it's not easily found. And so you have to do a little digging, some background, some research. But people want to be entertained. They want a quick, cute little 30 seconds, 60 seconds of something. They don't want to have to think too hard about something because, my God. Thinking, I don't want to think. I just want to laugh. A lot of people just want to get a few quick laughs off. They don't want to be bothered with having to think about something. But here's the problem with that. When all you want to do is be entertained, a lot of the things that are coming your way are very important, like issues about economics and society and politics, issues about things going on in your neighborhood, issues about your job, issues about your kids. These are things that require you to think critically, and because you don't know how to do that, you're going to find yourself in a very dangerous position. You're going to find yourself unable to make a decision because you don't know how to. Or you're going to make the wrong decision because all you know is bad judgment. You don't know good judgment. You don't know how to be discerning. You don't know the right answer because you don't ever have to think about what the right answers are. All you have is your opinion. 2 + 2 = 4. That's a fact. But you don't know that 2 + 2 = 4 because you don't know how to arrive at 4. You don't know what addition is. You don't know what adding numbers is. This is just an example, by the way. That's people don't know how to add. But you don't know how to do even simple addition to reach a conclusion that 2 + 2 is 4. Because all you like to do is be entertained. You're fine with being lied to. You don't do critical thinking. Because you've never had to, maybe. Maybe you've never had to. I don't know. But it just seems to me like a lot of people who are spending time on the internet doing discussions about relationships and about child rearing. I saw a conversation about whether it's okay to whoop your kids, and people are arguing about it. They're arguing about it. And for me, however you want to raise your kids is your business. However you want to raise your kids, that's legal, that's lawful, it's your business. And you can't tell me how to raise mine, and I can't tell you how to raise yours. I can give you some suggestions on good tools to use, on a good path to take, but ultimately you're going to do whatever you want to do. So why are you arguing with people about it? Ultimately, we're all going to do what we want. So why are we on the internet arguing with people about this? Because we want to be right. We want to be right, and we need other people's validation of our opinion to feed our ego. We are ego-driven. Men are especially ego-driven, and we need people to validate what we believe. Even if it's crazy, even if it sounds crazy. Like, I've seen some very crazy postulations out there. Just this one that circulates the Black community debates online a lot are women should women be submissive to men? And why aren't women feminine? And why do women act like they don't need a man? And it's always about women. Men are constantly talking about women, right? And it's usually men who do not or who have never had a successful relationship with a woman who are speaking negatively about women. We are the problem. We're the reason why they don't have successful relationships. It's never their problem. Nobody ever looks inward and says, hey, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the reason. Like, I know why my shit don't work out. I know exactly why. Sometimes they're the problem. Sometimes I'm the problem. Right? When you can recognize that you play a role in what is happening to you, you play a role in what is happening to you. That's you taking accountability, not just for your actions, but about what's going on inside of you. Right? And so when men talk about women not taking accountability, we certainly fucking do. And when women talk about men not taking accountability, they do. They just don't care. Men will say all day, all night, yeah, I'm the reason I cheated, I fucked up, so what? Women will beat ourselves up about mistakes that we make. That's how we take accountability. We beat ourselves up. Men just move on. They're like, yeah, I did it, so what? Moving right along. But here's the thing. People get on the horn, they get on these internet chats, they get on these live presentations, these feeds on Instagram and TikTok especially, and they're just arguing and arguing and arguing and arguing and going back and forth. And number one, none of them have any experience professionally in what they're talking about. So number one, you're listening to someone who's just a regular average motherfucker just like you. Number two, they're unable to accept, and in fact do not accept, that there's a differing viewpoint on what they're talking about. Number three, they're always shouting you down, shouting at you, shouting at the people who are talking to them. They're blocking you from speaking. And number four, they're asking you for money. Yes, this right here is the kicker. You're paying $2.99 a month, $5.99 a month. The money is leaving your account, leaving your PayPal, going to their Patreon, going to their wherever the hell it's going. Because these people also have jobs. I mean, they're not sitting around talking on the internet all day. They're going to work too. But their side hustle is talking shit on the internet for $20, $30, $40 a month. And you're giving it to them. And what are you learning? What are you learning? What problems are you solving? Because that's what it should be about. If you're paying someone to talk to you about relationships, work, about stress, about children, about your self-esteem, about how to build your business, it should actually be working. It should be working. Otherwise, why are you giving the money? If there's no problem solving happening, if there are no solutions happening, and the solutions that I mean shouldn't be, well, you just do everything I say and hopefully it works out. No. Actual fact-based solutions that help you, that advance you, that move the needle for you to progress. That's what should be going on. If you're giving someone money and nothing in your life is changing, why are you doing it? Why are you doing it? I've seen these lately, a few clips have been circulating about that show preachers in churches shaming their congressional members for the way that they dress, for not giving enough money in their offerings, for the lack of gifts that they're giving to the preacher. And they're calling people, fat and ugly and lazy and poor and broke, and why haven't you given me a Movado watch? And or they're doing the look at all the cars that I own and all the Gucci that I own, and the one dude got robbed of a couple $100,000 worth of jewelry live on a telecast. And all of these things, you're letting these people stand up in front of you, call you names, dog you out, and you're giving them money. Or you're giving them money, and what they're doing with it is they're spending it on themselves. They're not reinvesting it in the community. They're not doing anything for their community with the money you're giving them. And therefore, you see no changes whatsoever. But you maybe feel a little spiritually enlightened. Great. You don't have to pay for spiritual enlightenment. You could do that shit yourself. You could take out your religious texts, read a few scriptures, read a few surahs, read, some passages, and feel as enlightened as you want to be. You don't need someone to stand in front of you and dog you out, dog people out, demonize people, turn people off from coming to the church or the masjid or the temple. You don't have to pay someone to do that to you, and then you feel some spiritual enlightenment. You feel some haughtiness. You feel, a little bit better about your life. You don't need to pay somebody to do that. What you're paying for, what you should be paying for, what these people should be providing you is guidance. Guidance. But not just guidance in your life, but guidance for your community. Why are the Black communities not advancing despite having religious institutions all over our neighborhoods? And the neighborhoods are not advancing. There are some churches, some masjids, they put the money right back into the community. But then there are places where the money goes to the person who's talking to you every week. Your preacher should not be wealthier than you. Your preacher should not be living in a mansion. Your preacher should not be driving an Aston Martin. Your preacher should not be wearing Gucci. Your preacher should not be on TV asking you to buy them a plane, asking you to buy them a Movado watch. Because what are they doing for you? They're just talking to you for 2 hours. You can do that. You can do that yourself. You need guidance. You need someone who's going to guide you, and not just in any direction, but on the straight path. And these people are not giving it to you, and you're giving them your money. You're departing with your money for some bullshit. And you do it every day, you do it every week, and you don't care because you think it is the right thing to do. You think that giving them money and propping them up to do their job is somehow going to get you closer to what? Nirvana, get you closer to God, get you into heaven. Let me tell you, you cannot buy your way into heaven. You can't. You could give your entire year's worth of income to the poor. It's still not going to get you into heaven. You cannot buy your way to God. You cannot buy your way to goodness. You also cannot buy your way to an answer. You cannot give someone hundreds of dollars and hope that they're going to come up with an answer for you that works for you. You have to actually do the work for yourself. You have to do the critical thinking that's going to get you to the success that you're looking for. That's going to get you to the answers that are going to help you. That's going to be your guidance in the future, in your interactions with people. on your job, in your relationships. Now, if you don't know what critical thinking is, I'll just give you the standard definition. Should be pretty easy to understand, though. Critical thinking is the objective analysis and evaluation of an issue in order to form a judgment. So it is the objective analysis. Analysis is one piece, and evaluation is a second piece of an issue in order to form a judgment. So that 2 plus 2 equals that 4. That is the judgment. And when you think critically about something, you are analyzing situations, right? You're evaluating a situation clearly and rationally. You're separating your emotions from reason. You're not putting how you feel about something into understanding it so that you can think objectively about it. This is the other thing people fail to do. They fail to think objectively because they have put their feelings into something. And we are guided by our emotions so much that we're letting our emotions make decisions for us. Those are those snap judgments. When somebody hurts us and we fire off a mean and nasty text that's like 5 paragraphs long, or somebody slights us at work, or, they touch us, brush up against us on the bus or the train or whatever, and we just go off on them. Instead of stopping to understand what is happening here. Maybe the person was pushed by another person and then they bumped into you. Or maybe the person has a disability and when they got on the train, they accidentally, their leg moved or something because they don't have any control over their motor function. It's something that you need to think about why this happened versus just reacting and firing off and coming to a conclusion based on your emotions. Maybe you had a bad day. Maybe you've had a lot of bad days. And so all you want to do is do bad to people. You need to analyze a situation by evaluating it clearly and rationally and separating your emotions from reason. Critical thinking also requires you to process, connect, and reflect on information you've received. This is where people get tripped up because we sure as hell don't reflect on anything. We just have a lot of information being thrown at us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Even in our sleep, our brains are processing information. They're processing what we've dealt with in the last week or couple of months, the stresses that we're dealing with, and the information is just flying at us. And we're not really taking the time to reflect on what we're hearing. Because sometimes when you reflect on what you've heard, you learn something about yourself or you learn something about the people around you that maybe you don't want to know. It's information that you're not ready to hear yet. So you don't reflect. You just receive it, store it somewhere, file it away somewhere. And it's fine if you don't want to deal with it at that moment. You compartmentalize, great. But it's still there. It's still there. You have to process it. You have to connect with it and you have to reflect. And when you do this, you're able to solve problems. You're able to communicate your position logically because you've reflected on the information that was presented to you. You've thought about it. You've maybe calmed down from whatever was presented to you. And so now you can speak your piece. You can speak your piece without emotion, without being angry, without being upset. Critical thinking also requires you to overcome your personal prejudice and biases. And fuck it. Is that right there? You're asking people to overcome their prejudice and biases? Oh, please. This is one of the hardest things I find that people, this is one of the things that people have a hard time doing, is letting go of their prejudice and bias, because they have held on to these things for a very long time. They're embedded, they're imprinted on their brains. And so for someone to change that, to unlearn their prejudice and their bias so that they could see something objectively, see something clearly, think about something rationally, or maybe see a different side, consider someone else's opinion. Boy, that takes some work. That takes some work. That takes some real work. Hard work that a lot of people are not willing to do, haven't done, and they're 60, 70 years old, and they're probably never going to do it. And they'll say, oh, I'm just set in my ways. Set in my ways means that I feel how I feel and fuck how you feel. And we give so many people a pass to feel how they feel. But sometimes how people feel is prejudicial and it's biased and it's hurting the people around them. Their opinions are hurting people around them. Their stance are hurting people around them. It's not advancing anything. Your community isn't going anywhere because people are stuck in the 1950s with the idea that women are supposed to be submissive and stay at home and take care of things while the man goes off and works and makes all the money and brings it home. Those ideas are not advancing anything. And your desire to live in that time, to live in that moment, is not helping. But because this is what you know, this is all you know, this is what you're going to try to impose on people. This is what you're going to try to convince people that this is what we need to get back to. This is the answer. How I feel is the answer, is basically what that says. How I feel is the answer. Not just for me, but for my children, for my spouse, for the people on my job. How I feel is the answer. But fuck you, it is not. It is not. How you feel is not the answer. How you feel is not the answer. Because how you feel involves negative thoughts sometimes. It involves incorrect thoughts about people. It involves lies sometimes. So how you feel is not the answer, because you haven't thought about anything critically. You haven't thought about the thing rationally. So how you feel cannot be the answer. If there is a problem and you haven't rationalized how to get out of it, how you feel cannot be the answer. You're just going to keep getting into the same shit. You're going to keep getting into the same hot water, the same problems. You're going to have the same problems over and over and over and over, because you have not thought critically about how to get out of this. And this is why I continue. This is why I see the same topics being discussed over and over and over on these live streams, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram. We have not solved these problems because we have not thought critically about them. And there's a lot of information out there. There's so much information. Researchers have researched these things. They've collected data. They've talked to people. Sociologists have talked to people, psychologists and scientists. We're not reading any of that. We're going straight to opinion over facts, feelings over facts, opinions over facts, and feelings over facts, and that's it. And because you're going with opinions and feelings over facts, you are not problem solving. So you are going to continue to have the same problems. You're going to continue to talk about the same problems. They're not going to go away until you solve them. And you cannot solve a problem if you don't think about it clearly and rationally, remove your feelings from it, separate your emotions from reason to reach a sound conclusion. And yeah, sometimes that involves assessing alternative perspectives. Sometimes you have to consider how other people think about this, how other people feel about it. And frankly, a lot of you just are not there. A lot of you are not there at all. You cannot see someone else's side of an argument. And I tell people all the time, please disagree with me. Please tell me how you feel. Don't regurgitate how I feel. Don't just agree with how I feel or what I think about something. Please tell me. Give me your opinion and tell me why your opinion is your opinion. How did you reach that conclusion? Present facts to me. Present figures to me. I'm fact and figure driven, honey. I love it. But I also love wisdom. Good, sound wisdom. I can recognize when I'm being lied to. I can recognize when I'm being taken advantage of. But I love some good, sound wisdom. And even if it means I'm wrong, I've reached the conclusion based on my analysis that I am incorrect, I will admit that I am incorrect. I have no problem doing that because I hate being wrong on something fundamental or something that is important. That really bothers me because that means I've been moving in a wrong direction. That means my guidance is off. So please feel free to disagree with me. I'm not going to block people who disagree with me. I'm not going to fire off nasty emails to people who disagree with me. I'm not going to send people nasty DMs because they disagreed with me. The only thing that bothers me, that really gets me worked up, is racism. Racism, Islamophobia, those kinds of things really get me worked up. But if you have an opinion on something that I've said, bring it out, please. I welcome it. And not because I like to be challenged, but because I want to hear what people think. I really want to know what people think about things and how they came to that conclusion. I really like to help people work things out, try to help them make the world make sense, but also people do the same for me. You help me make the world make sense. And these people who you're giving your money to, they're not doing that. They're not helping you understand the world. You're paying them so that they can talk and essentially badger you into agreeing with them. You're sitting wherever you are, at work or at school or at home, and you're listening to these toxic ideas, these hurtful, these painful ideas, and they're entering your brain daily, and suddenly they become what you think, right? Doesn't that happen? You listen to someone so long that how they feel and what they think replaces your good judgment. It replaces what you think is good with what they think is good. And suddenly you're talking like them. You're acting like them. You're treating people the way that this person, who you, by the way, you don't even know, you never met them in person, but you're treating people how they treat them. You go from being a sound, rational person to someone who is extreme. Anybody who's trying to get you to see an extreme view of something is trash, frankly. They're going to lead you astray. They just are. Anything that's far on one side, it's extremism, and it leads you astray. And that wisdom actually comes from my religion. It comes from Islam. Allah in the Quran, he tells us to take the middle path, that there is no compulsion in religion. You either do it or you don't. There is no don't. There is no do. There is nothing that you have to absolutely do. You either do it or you don't. And you take the middle path because everything else leads you astray. Everything else, it leads to oppression, or it leads to you being lied to, or you being a liar, or it leads to you taking advantage of people, or you being taken advantage of. It leads to people's rights being violated. So when you take the middle path, that's the best path because it's the most sound path. But you have got people on the internet telling you to hate men, hate women. telling you that, the way you're raising your kids is wrong. You're a bad mother. You're a bad father. You're a waste. Telling you that how you run your business is wrong. And if you pay me $500 for an hour, I'll teach you how to run your business the right way. You have people taking your money from you. They have no problem taking their money from you. If somebody was really invested in you, they wouldn't charge you for their game, right? They call it free game. There are not enough people giving away free game. Not at all. No. They don't want you to have it. They want you to pay for it. This is my knowledge based on my experience and years in the industry. They're full of shit. Because how do you know they were paying attention that whole time? They could have been on their computer playing solitaire while they were supposed to be working. And when they got fired from their job, they just took the manuals, the training manuals, and now what they're regurgitating back to you is what's in the training manuals. I always tell people, show me the businesses you've built that make you qualified to give business advice. Like, show me that you own them and that they're successful and they're doing well. Show it to me. And if you're talking to people about relationships, how to have good relationships, show me your good, long-lasting relationship. Show it to me. Let me see that this has worked for you. It's different when you're in a professional setting, like when you're with a therapist and they're giving you advice to help you get out of the mental anguish you're in. They don't necessarily have to be in the same position. They just have to know what works. That's different. But if you're paying someone $50 a month, let's say, to just give you some tips and tricks, that if they cared about you enough, they would just give it to you for free, then you're a fool. And they're counting on you being a fool. They're not helping you. These people are not helping. They are not helping. And when you're sitting and you're listening to them, you're probably thinking, well, I really need help. In that moment that you've decided to give someone money for their knowledge, you really need help. You're desperate. If you go to a therapist or a psychologist or, an oncologist or whatever, they can show you folders full of the names of people who they've helped over the years, thousands of people. But if you go to these, talking heads on the internet, they don't have that same reputation. If you're going to pay someone, they need to have a reputation for being effective at what they're teaching and telling you. But you all are giving your money, $5 here, $10 here, when your budgets are already tight, to be yelled at, to be talked down to. Yeah, these people are condescending to you. People are calling you names, talking shit about you, gossiping about other people. And for what? It's all entertainment. I don't need that kind of entertainment. I got my streaming services. I got my Netflix. I got, my old TV shows. I got my Law and Order, got my Seinfeld, got my Golden Girls. I got all of that. I don't need to pay you anything. To be talked down to? No. I'm going to pay somebody to abuse me? Hell no. Does that make sense to you? And these people are being abusive because when you disagree with them, they yell at you. When you say something contrary to what they believe, because again, this is all just their beliefs. It's not facts. None of the stuff that they're presenting to you is fact-based. That's the other thing. You're paying someone, you're spending time with people who all they're doing is talking about what they believe. Guess what? You believe shit too. So why isn't what you believe as important as what they believe? Why is no one paying you to say what you believe? These people are getting paid. You should be getting paid too. I mean, it's really ridiculous. It's ridiculous what is happening. And I've spent the last week the last 7 days steeped in this world of talking heads, people just talking on the internet, and the moment you disagree with them, they wanna shut you down. They yell at you, call you names. The name calling, oh my god. It's childish behavior. And people just assuming that because they believe a certain way, they're better than you. No, your beliefs are based in bias and prejudice, probably just like mine. So why is what you believe better than what I believe? You haven't proven it. You've proven nothing. Oh, well, it works for me, so let's see it. Let's see. But then they can't show you anything. Oh, I don't want to talk about my personal business. Because they're lying to you. You're being lied to, and you're accepting it, and you're taking it, and you're regurgitating it, and you're letting it replace what you believe and how you feel, and it's leading to a sad life. You're not advancing. You're not moving ahead. Anybody who's truly invested in you, who truly loves you, who truly cares about you, is going to give you the game for free. And it's going to be based in their research. It's going to be based in them showing you that it worked for them. It's going to be based in facts. It's going to be helpful. It's not going to depend on you giving them anything in return. But overall, what these things, what these conversations, what this discourse is removing from us is the ability to make good decisions. Because we don't know what's good. Because we haven't taken the time to stop and think about what is the best course of action. Because we're not being told what the best course of action is. And I'm not talking about what this person thinks or what I think is the best course of action. It's you because you have thought about a situation clearly and rationally. You've processed, you've connected, you've reflected on the information presented before you. You've overcome your personal prejudices and biases. You've considered another side. You've considered new data. You've changed your opinion. You've changed what you think based on the new data. These facts are coming in. They're coming into you. And you're forming a decision. You're making a good decision based on an independent judgment. Independent judgment. See, independent judgment is based on data, not feelings. It says that you're able to make reasonable, intelligent decisions about what to believe and what to do. When somebody says something to you, they don't just get to state it. It has to withstand clinical, at least, intellectual scrutiny. But because we're so focused on being entertained, we don't hold people's feet to the fire this way. We don't tell them to prove it to us. We're not asking them to prove it. And when we do, when we think about asking them to prove it to us, they say, no, well, I can't really get into how I came up with that. I can't really say, I don't really like to discuss my personal business on the internet. I don't really like to discuss how much money I make. I don't really want to show you guys where I get my money from. I don't really want to show you guys how I reach this conclusion. I don't, blah, 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 blah. They can't show you. Or they say, well, if you give me $1,000, I'll show you. And again, people do this every day. They present truth when it is just an opinion or belief. They call their opinions and beliefs truth. Truth is based in reason, facts. It is not based in opinions and beliefs. It just isn't. Your opinion is not the truth. And when people say something, you'll see, little comments, people like, facts. Oh my God, facts, facts, facts. No, it's not facts. It's not facts. It makes sense to you. That doesn't make it true. It makes sense because maybe you've been through it. Maybe you've experienced it. Maybe you've been the person who's laid it on someone. That doesn't make it facts. Facts are truth. They're not based in your beliefs. And a lot of what people are just saying, they're just saying things, and you're going, oh my God, facts, facts, all facts. She told not one lie. How do you know? You haven't even thought about what they've said. You haven't even reasoned. You haven't judged it. You haven't asked them to prove anything. Critical thinking requires questions, and it favors questioning over answers. It favors questioning, reasoning. It favors reasoning and separating out your emotions over answers, because answers are just like that. That click, 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 quick, 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 quick. Your snap judgment, your snap conclusion. People always want answers. I need an answer right now. I need somebody just tell me what to do. Please tell me what to do. I just need an answer. God, please give me an answer. That's how we treat God. We want God to just give us an answer right away because we're confused, we're lost. And sometimes it's because we've confused ourselves and we've caused ourselves to be lost. And suddenly we want an answer. We want an answer right away because we don't like being lost and confused anymore. We want to be rightly guided again. And we're sorry, and when we're remorseful, and we want God to just give us an answer immediately. That's not how it works. A lot of the shit you get into, you got to get yourself out of. You got to get yourself out of it. You have to come up with the solution. You have to use good judgment, discernment. Please, people, discernment. That's your good judgment. A lot of the things you get into, you've gotten yourself into them, and you need to figure out how to get out of them. And it's not because you've paid somebody $500 to help you get out of it. Because what if you're presented with the same problem again? You haven't figured out how to solve the problem. So again, you're going to think that maybe if I give somebody money, or maybe if I pay somebody to do it, then I can get out of it. It's just going to keep happening to you. You're going to have the same problems over and over and over and over. Because you have not thought critically about the situation. You haven't thought critically about why your child's school system is in the pickle that it's in. About why your community is in the situation that it's in. You haven't thought critically about gun violence or Black maternal health or Black men's health or violence in police interactions with people. You haven't thought critically about any of these things. So none of these problems are being solved, and they just keep happening. They keep happening over and over, and you don't know why. But you can certainly get online and argue with people back and forth about what the answer is, about what should be done. And usually it's something extreme, like ban the police, ban the guns, ban men, ban women. Ban houses, ban cars. It's always something ridiculous. Just get rid of everything and that solves all the problems. No, because that means you're gone too. It's not that easy. It is not that easy. You really need to think about when you get into a pickle or when something is bothering you, when you get into a quandary, you have to think critically about the answer to it. And that involves you questioning a lot of things, questioning the people around you, questioning yourself, questioning the information you've been presented with. And when someone is in your face telling you that they have the answer and all you have to do is give them money for the answer, they're probably lying to you and they're taking advantage of you. Do not allow yourself to be taken advantage of. You might even be ripe for it. You might be in a position where people are just waiting because your self-worth is low. Your self-esteem is low. And there are people who can sense it. They're attracted to that. And they're just going to take advantage of you. So I say all this to say, keep your money in your pocket, please. And when someone presents you with information, think before you speak. Think before you speak. And if you're having a problem, some problems only a professional can help you with. And some problems, if you just sat and thought about it, if you question what was going on, if you used some critical analysis, you used some reasoning, if you read, a book about it, or read a news article, something, you would be able to understand how to get yourself out of it and how to not get back to where you're needing answers again. One thing I know about problems, they're going to keep coming up until you get rid of the thing or figure out the thing that's causing them to happen again. It's like with plumbing. Something goes wrong with your plumbing. You call a plumber to come fix it. And if something keeps going wrong with that one particular spot, maybe it needs, a sewer expert. Maybe it needs the water department to come out. You call experts to come in and fix it so that it doesn't happen again. But it's going to happen again. But because you know how to get out of it, because you know who to call, you know who to talk to, you've read about it, you've gone on YouTube, you've looked at the videos, you've read about this particular issue, you know that maybe if you replace these pipes, it won't happen again, that maybe if you have some sewer work done, maybe if you, put a couple thousand into some sewer work, that this problem won't happen again. You've researched that, you've figured out what's going on. Maybe the city is the problem, and they come out and they fix it. And you don't have that problem anymore. And why am I talking about this? Because let me tell y'all something, okay? I don't just be talking shit. I know exactly what I'm talking about. I had a dishwasher that was a problem. I've had this dishwasher since, gosh, I want to say 2016 is when I got the dishwasher. And I bought the extended warranty because I know after the manufacturer's warranty expires is when stuff starts to act up. Because they don't make these appliances, to last long anymore. They have so many computers and just things that parts that are not good anymore. And if they get used every day, they wear down quicker. And so since the pandemic and me and my kids being home all day, every day, a lot of the appliances started to fail because they're not used to being used every day. The toilets, the washer dryer, the refrigerator, the stove. So my dishwasher, for the third time, this is the third dishwasher I've had in my house. So it broke down. It was still under warranty. Got that fixed. 2 years later, something else goes wrong and it's no longer under warranty. So I had to call someone. And because I just wanted this to be over, I wanted it to be done, I just threw money at somebody. I looked at the reviews. Some of the reviews were bad, some were good. I was like, whatever, that's with anything. So please come out and fix this. What I should have done was think rationally about this, taking my complete emotion out of this, out of just wanting my dishwasher to work again, because My kids hate washing dishes. I hate washing dishes. And you just load the dishwasher, turn it on, and it's done. But because I was so tired and exhausted from dealing with getting my son ready for college, dealing with work stuff and my other kid, and I was just like, I just please somebody come and fix this. I wasn't thinking. And these people came out. They took forever to diagnose the problem. And then they said, okay, we have to order a part and give us the money up front. We have to order the part, whatever. I was like, whatever, fine. I don't care. Please just fix it. I just needed an answer, right? I just needed an answer. I just needed an answer. And so when they came to fix it, it took them a good, I want to say it was 3.5 hours, 3.5 hours to fix this. And they did not fix it. They, in fact, botched it so bad that I had to have some plumbing work done under my sink, under my kitchen sink, and I had to buy a new dishwasher. They didn't reinstall the dishwasher correctly. They didn't install the part correctly, so water wasn't going into the dishwasher, and I had to decide if I wanted to keep throwing money at this dishwasher. If I wanted to just keep getting it fixed, repaired, because I know how long these appliances last and what brands are good brands, and I knew that because this was going to get used every day, that this was going to break down again. So am I going to keep getting it repaired, or am I just going to buy a new one? Because this one is on its last leg anyway. These people fucked it up. And so I had to make the executive decision to get a new dishwasher. But I probably would not have had to do that if I had thought critically about the people I used to repair it. There are so many people out there who call themselves repair people, and they will certainly take your money. And they might fuck it up, and they don't care, because what are you going to do? And right now I'm fighting with, my credit card company, because these people told me, the people who botched the job said, man, we're just going to give you your money back. They recognize that they did a piss poor job, and we're just going to give you your money back, ma'am. Well, they haven't done that. And so now I'm using my credit card company to help me get my money back. And it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I was to say I was outdone that day that they came and repaired in quotes my dishwasher. I was cussing and crying because I was so tired of this entire process. It was an ordeal when it didn't have to be. But there was water from the dishwasher leaking into my basement, and I'm like, okay, I just don't want to deal with this anymore. And then the people who had to install the new dishwasher couldn't install it because of the type of floor I had. And again, I'm just like, please, just leave. Get out of my house. I do not care. I called a real professional to come and install it. And this young man did such a fantastic job. He did such a fantastic job. He's probably who I should have called to come and repair it to begin with, the old dishwasher. But I finally had just sat down and said, okay, I'm just going to call a professional to do this because I'm tired of dealing with this problem. I don't want to deal with it anymore. And if I hire someone with a good reputation, if I think about who I'm giving my money to, I will not have to deal with this again. So when something doesn't feel right, it's not right. And when something feels good, it still may not be right. You have to think. You have to think about things no matter what. You have to remove your emotion from a situation. You have to think independently. You have to make independent judgments. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself giving somebody $600 to screw you over. And this has been Ayana Explains It All, brought to you by facts, figures, and enlightenment. Take care.